What's up, guys? Welcome back to It's Me Tinx Live, exclusively on Radio Andy, Channel 102. As always, this is our weekly time to talk to each other with a live Ask Me Anything. I want to talk to all of you right now, so call me. It's 844-305-ANDY. That's 844-305-2639. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. I'm live from LA today, and I have to say, it's very nice to be in LA. There was some sort of like a second winter happening in New York, and I gotta tell you, the sun, I'm wearing flip-flops right now. The dogs are out. I had my windows down in my car when I was driving to work today. It was beautiful. It was sunny. I ate my lunch outside yesterday. Very nice, LA. Very, very, very nice. I am just like loving the era of TV we're in where there's so much good TV all of a sudden. I'm still digesting White Lotus, and I'm really excited because on Friday I have a special episode coming out. We're switching things up a little bit because I wanted to get out when it was timely. I did an entire episode on my favorite characters, the three girlfriends, and I kind of looked at them through the lens of my Tinx theories. So fatal flaw friend theory, comparison is the thief of joy, etc. So that's coming out on Friday. I can't wait. I want to know where the next White Lotus is going to be. I definitely want some snow action. I could do a Stad. I could do an Aspen. I could do something like that. So they said they're going to announce it in a few weeks. So I'm very excited. That must be the coolest job ever, to be the White Lotus location scout and be like talking to Mike White being like, well, I went on this trip to this resort and I think we could do it here. Like, dream job. Hello. Yeah. LA is really nice. So I was listening to Prof G Markets this morning, as I do when I get ready because I like to try and understand new things. And yeah, seems like the tariffs not so good for the old stock market there. Obviously, like, I've been very open about this before, but I don't really invest because I'm very nervous. And every time Vivian, like, your rich BFF, that's her she's always like horrified when I say that. But it seems like for just this week, me keeping my money under the bed, I actually don't. Please don't rob me. It is in a bank, I promise, but I just don't invest it. Seems like that was actually kind of a smart idea for just this week. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. And that's me right now. So anyway, seems bad. I'm still understanding exactly what the plan is and like how this will help the economy in the long run. And I'm not saying that in a sarcastic way. I'm very bad with numbers and I'm very dyslexic, but I do really want to understand what the plan is and like how this is going to help America. Honestly, Ed and Scott were kind of like, they couldn't really see a full path. They were offering some ideas, but it's complicated stuff. If anyone wants to call in and explain it to me in very simple language in terms of how this is going to help. Like, I mean, I'm not completely an idiot. I get that we're trying to bring manufacturing back to the US, but it just seems like this is really a hard way to go about it. But anyway, I like to try and learn about things that are really difficult for me to understand because I feel like that's what makes you smarter. And I feel like as an adult, we can just continue to like close our world smaller and smaller and be like, okay, well, I don't understand that, so I'm never going to learn about that. And, we just, our feeds get more narrow and more narrow. And then finally we just like don't know anything. So I'm trying to do the opposite of that. What else can I talk to you about? We're in the LA studio, which I always in my head call the Blef studio because the lighting in here and the combination with the fact that I get up really early it makes me want to have a lower and upper blepharoplasty. I should probably learn how to say it if I'm going to get the surgery. Also, I'm saying this once now and forever, you guys. If I do get it, I'm not going to be showing you, okay? I won't lie about it, but I won't be showing you. It's just not my gag. You'll see me disappear for 2 weeks and I'll be like, guys, I'm going to do something and you'll know what I'm talking about and I'll come back and I won't have bags under my eyes anymore. Just throwing that out there. No shame. That's what I'm going to do.
Can you explain better? Do you know that's, I don't think I'm putting her on blast because she'll say it with anyone with ears. My wife, and I quote, I'm getting a fucking upper bleft at some point in my life.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like the cool surgery right now because women are so tired of all the bullshit in the world. I think that our eyes get very heavy. I swear to God, that's what my mom said. My mom didn't get one, but she was like, women's eyes, we get so tired because there's so much bullshit. We just get so tired and it shows in our eyes. My eyelid is like almost fully over my eye at this point, and the under eye bags, you don't even want to know how much concealer I have. So it's just like, it's very easy. You just kind of like take a little bit of the eyelid out and a little bit of the under. I don't know. It seems nice.
I don't see an issue, but I've learned so much from this podcast of like, yeah, or in radio show, it's like, okay, if that sparks joy for you, then yeah. Like I don't want to even tell her like, you don't need it. Don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I feel like a lot of people have been like, "Oh, you should wait till you're older." But I'm like, I'm kind of like I want to enjoy it now. Like,
Yeah.
I have some more hot years in me. I want to just like, just do a little tweak. So anyway, Atlanta. I am also still thinking about Atlanta. Now, Steve, what are your thoughts? I was so devastated to watch Kenya destroy her life this way. And I'm not some big Kenya stan. She's just always viewed herself as the villain, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I wish she had just spoken to someone before she did this. Now, what's your take? Did production know?
I think production knew.
Yeah,
Personally.
which is
I think they
so
did. They
fucked
saw
up.
those poster boards and they knew what something crazy was about to go down. And I had less anxiety watching the White Lotus finale than I did the Real Housewives of
I
Atlanta
know. I know.
episode last week.
It was so sad. And if they did know, I think that I wish someone had just pulled her aside and said, "Hey, that's revenge porn. Like that's because it is,
Gross.
right? It's like
Yeah.
that's a punishable offense. Like I think legally, maybe, or I don't know. I
I
don't.
just to do it at the opening of your salon that you work so hard and you kept
I
saying like
know.
this is for my child, it really felt like a huge
It was
miss.
devastating. I know. I know. And she's just like, she's been on a journey. Again, she does say some crazy things and she does, fight with the other women, but like, what housewife doesn't? And I just felt like when she had her daughter, there was like a turning point, and then I really felt like this salon could have been another turning point. And she was so proud of it. And like, also, I think the most heartbreaking part was people were proud for her. Like when they were showing up at the opening of her salon, people were really proud for her, and it was actually so sad. I was devastated. Yeah, I don't know, very sad.
Every housewife spoke up and was like, even Cynthia, who's like not controversial at all,
Right. Yeah,
was like, hey, I don't really agree with this. I'll call you later. Flash to like Kenya standing there kind of confused, and Drew's just eating and drinking.
I
Like
know.
Drew just, Drew didn't care.
Drew didn't care. Like, I know. I think the worst part, I mean, there's so many worst parts, but I think Kenya genuinely thought she was going to get a laugh. And I thought it was going to be like a gotcha moment. And it was like, everyone was like, oh, that's not, yeah, we can't be doing that. So I felt very sad for her. Do you think she can come back maybe after a
No,
season? You
I,
think
I do
never?
I do not like she could be on Traders, she could be on Love
Yeah.
Hotel, she could
Yeah.
be on somewhere, but like I don't think she makes a return to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And you brought up a really good point. You love the production company that runs Atlanta, like that the editing,
Yeah.
everything is so great. I just don't think that production company would want to work with her again after this.
That's so true. That's so true.
So,
Your thoughts on the trailer for the new Bravo show about the kids?
for me, that show is not for me in any way. Like I just was not interested in it personally.
I'm gonna give it a go. I like Brooks
Oh, I'm
Marks.
gonna what are you kidding? Of course I'm gonna watch
Yeah, we
it.
have to pay our respects. I think for me, I always have a little bit of a hard time when they're smushing people together who aren't friends. And like if
Yeah.
they were friends, like I think you need for any cast on a Bravo show, I'm making this declaration now, you need three people who are genuinely friends and have been friends for a while, like as the core, as the base, because then you have something to grow off of. And I just don't know how well this group of kids know each other. Maybe they do, maybe through their moms or whatever, but we'll see.
They don't seem to know each other than they were Bravo kids.
Yeah.
And there was one line in the trailer that was like, we're just trying to all make it. I was like, I don't know. It seems like a bunch of you have already made it because of your parents.
Literally, I know. Wait, so is it Ariana Berman, isn't it?
Yes, it's Ariana Bierman, it's Gia Giudice, and Brooks Marks were
Are
the
the
three
main
people that
ones.
I recognized from the
Yes,
trailer.
yes. I like weirdly like Ariana Berman. I don't know. I get her TikTok sometimes, and I kind of like her. She has so much hair. Like there's her and her sisters. They all have these hair extensions. There was some drama on TikTok a while back by this hair extension. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, shout out to you because you spend as much time on Bravo Talk as me. But anyway, let's get to some callers. Let's talk to Emily. Hi, Emily. How are you doing?
Good morning, Tinxie. Can you hear me?
I can. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Hi, babe. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fab. I'm better now with your good energy. What's going on with you?
I have a White Lotus fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, hit me.
And I'm so curious to get your take. So Saxon, Rick, and Valentine.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. This is really hard. Okay, this is really hard because Saxon is hot. Well, he's hot. Yeah, he's not really my type, but he's attractive. He's dependable, but here's the thing, he's broke now because of his family. He's broke and he's going to be stressed out because his dad is going to jail probably and whatnot. Okay. Then we've got Valentine. Valentine cannot leave Thailand, right? That's right. And so that's something to consider. And then we've got Rick, who's but we'll take that back for now. Oh God. I honestly feel like I would marry Valentine because then I could just do whatever I want and he'd be in Thailand and I could be like whatever. And then I feel like I'd bang Rick and I'd scrap Saxon respectfully. What would you do?
I know it's so hard. I think that I would fuck Valentine because he's hot.
Yeah.
And Saxon is just not my type. Like Valentine is like a little more gritty and like, just has some edge.
I feel you.
And I would marry Rick because he's and maybe he would have left me some money.
Girl, you're so smart. Steve is so funny. Steve just wrote in the chat, Saxon loves hand jobs. Could be a low lift. I'm dead. Yeah, I don't know. I think Saxon is just going to be, I'm with you. Saxon doesn't have any grit. I need a guy who looks like he can throw down. And for all of Saxon's talk about, he loves to get laid, we know Saxon's type. Saxon is the typical type of guy where it's like a 3 pump and dump. He's like in it and then he's out. And he's also going to be traumatized because he has no money anymore. So we just can't be dealing with that.
He's the type that asks you if you came. Did you come too?
1,000%. He's the type where he literally fucks you for 2 minutes and then he's like, oh, did you come? And you're like, no. But in college, I would have lied and been like, yeah, it was amazing.
Exactly.
Oh my God, that was so good. Thank you for the fun start to the show. Where do you hope White Lotus is filmed next season?
I mean, everyone's saying like a snow bunny thing. I've heard Swiss Alps talk. I feel like that would be really good.
Apparently, Mike White refuses to film anywhere cold. Is the
really?
latest?
Oh,
yeah,
whoa.
that is the latest headline. And where I'm seeing people rumoring is Mexico or Egypt because they have to go somewhere where they have a 4 seasons where they have a deal.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that it was an actual deal with the 4 seasons. They actually do film there?
Listen, I read the internet. The internet's never lied.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay, I would love an Egypt one. That would be cool. That would be so sick. There would become some like pyramid vibes like that. That would be amazing. I think that could be great. Damn, I was hoping for a snow situation, but I guess if you're that famous and your show is that popular, you can make the rules. I love that for Mike White. So good on him. All right. Well, thank you for calling, babe. Have a fabulous day. And I will talk to you next time there's a White Lotus where you can do more Fuck, Marry, Kills. Okay, let's go to Alex. Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hi, welcome to the show. What's going on?
Not much. We're missing you in New York today.
I know. It's such a different energy, and I just woke up. So it's like, by the time I get to the show in New York, I've already I think you just see so many more people. You have a whole day. You're on the subway. You see 50 things. You're like, whoa, you're so bombarded, which is good and bad. So anyway, shout out New York. Love you. What's going on with you?
Okay, so I've been hooking up with this guy for a while, and so about 2 weeks ago, I learned that last spring he hooked up with someone that I considered to be a tangential friend.
Okay.
At a party that I'd been at but left early. And
were you guys hooking up at the time, you and the guy?
Yeah, and I'd literally been sitting down next to him. We'd been talking the whole night, and then I had to leave early for something. There's multiple people that could have told me since then, and I've definitely seen him multiple times since the incident last spring. But yeah, someone finally told me a couple weeks ago, and so I was just wondering. I mean, obviously, he's no more dead to me, but I'm just more upset that my friends didn't tell me, and I was just wondering how you would handle it.
So how did you finally find out in the end? Was it a friend, or how did it come up?
Yeah, I had a hunch that something had happened because they both of these girls didn't follow him back on Instagram, but he followed them. So I just finally asked my friend, did something happen there? And she was like, yeah, you don't know, do you? And I was like, no, I do not know. hope
I
now I
hate
do.
that.
I know, right? It's so icky.
I would just talk to them about it. I would just kind of get their I would just say, guys, just why didn't you tell me? Like, I would have preferred to know. And I know what everyone's going to say. They're going to say, Tinx, you always say don't get your business about cheating. But here's the thing. These are her good friends. They're your good friends, right? These girls.
Yeah.
And they saw it with their own eyes. So those are the things where I'm like, that probably would have been worth telling you. And it's like an uncomfortable conversation, but like it would have been better to know. Like, I think you just have to ask them and been like, hey, just wondering, like, why did you decide it wasn't important to tell me? Because it's just random.
I would have ended it with him on the spot if I'd known, and instead now I feel like I've wasted, which I know I should have a funeral, so I take the whole responsibility for that. But like now I feel like I've just like wasted more time on this person when I could have known however many months ago, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Ugh, I'm sorry. I would just say, like, guys, like, I'm kind of hurt. Like, and I would tell them exactly what you just told me and been like, I would have just left it because it would have been like maybe confirmation of being in the hookup box or whatever. So I would just tell them, and you don't have to say it in a like, defensive way or attacking way. I would just be like, yeah, guys, I really wish you would have told me because I like, went further down this path and I just wish you had told me. So I think you just got to ask them straight up and see what they say.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm sorry. That's frustrating. And it feels really bad, like, to feel like people don't have your back. So just get to the bottom of it. You'll feel better when you get it off your chest. And hopefully they have a good reason, or they don't. And they'll just be like, sorry, that was kind of cowardly. And I'm still your friend or whatever.
Yeah. You feel almost like an idiot that someone knew, like that everyone knew something you didn't know.
Exactly. Yeah. You're just like, oh, everyone was in on it apart from me. And it's not a nice feeling. And it's not good that your friends would do that to you. So definitely just get to the bottom of it.
Okay, I will. I appreciate your advice.
Love you. Hang in there. Go have the chat.
I will.
Bye, babe. Also, one thing I should have said to her was like, that's why, okay, this is two separate issues. Like, her friends not telling her was wrong in that case. I really do think that they should have told her, especially when they knew, like, they're your good friends. They know you're in the hookup box, or maybe you have hookup box denial, and this could have, like, pushed you over the edge. It's always better to just say in that point. But the other thing I want to say is it's always good to know where you stand. So I wish I would have asked her, did you know that he was hooking up with other people in general and it just hurt your feelings that it was at this party? Or did you not know that he was hooking up with other people? Knowing where you stand is a superpower. I know it might hurt in the short term, but like in the long term, it's so much better to feel like, oh, I know where I stand with this guy. So that's why know what box you're in to protect yourself. Okay, let's talk to Martina. Hey, Martina, how are you? Thanks for calling.
Hi, Tinx. What a perfect segue.
Oh, fabulous. What's going on with you?
So you actually helped me. I mean, I knew I was in the hookup box, but I called a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And you really helped me lay it out. So for a little bit of background, I basically crashed out on a guy I've been seeing for like 3-4 months and had a like, what are we conversation over drinking.
Yes, I remember. I remember this.
Yeah. So he was basically like, I can't really give you more than this. I think you should be single right now because I just got out of a 12-year relationship like going on a year ago. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, I like being single. You should be single. Like, let's just, if you can like keep this up, just having fun, I'm down to have fun and would love to like keep doing what we're doing.
Right.
But I can't offer anything more. And so you helped me just kind of be like, well, now I need to go away and decide like, am I down for this casual thing or do we call it quits here and leave it where it was? So I kind of, and you also were like, box theory, like you can do no wrong.
Exactly.
Like just because you had this conversation, if you're in the hookup box, you're in the hookup box. Like you don't scare somebody off who's like already put you in whatever box, right?
Yeah.
So that turned out to be true. I let it lie for a bit. He like came back around a few days later and we kind of like squashed it, saw him a few more times. I have the wildest update.
Oh my gosh. Tell.
After seeing each other a few more times and all is well, we don't bring it up again. And out of nowhere, he texted me a couple weeks ago being like sandwiched in between 2 sweet text messages being like, by the way, I know we already spoke about this, but just want to make sure you're comfortable with the fact that I'm in an open relationship where the person I'm seeing, I see other people.
Stop.
And then back to each other. And just want to make sure you're cool with this and we're on the same page. Gaslight. He never met me.
Oh my God. Holy shit. So he was in an open relationship this whole time.
Well, so I end up having a conversation with him that night because I want to know like what
The
like, and I
details.
didn't
Yes.
ask, like, yeah, I was like, so what made you text me this of all days today? Like, did something happen between you guys? I was very sweet, very calm. And I was like, and how long has this been going on? Turns out it seems like we have a similar timeline, me and this girl. It sounds like she just had the conversation first of
Oh,
like,
wow. That
gonna do
literally
something
makes my
more.
skin crawl. She just literally got to this douchebag guy first and was like, yeah, I just wanted to like lightly stake my claim on him while he goes out and sees other girls. Wow. 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 Wow.
And he also told me, he was like, yeah, you know, so we spent some time apart because she wanted something more exclusive and I couldn't offer that. And when we came back together, this is what I could offer her. And I said, oh, so you negotiated her down.
I'm
Basically.
dead. You negotiated her down, literally. Also, like, no offense to that girl. I need that girl to call the show so I can talk some sense into her. That really makes me sad. Being like, no, I want to be exclusive. And then the guy being like, no, I can't give that to you. And then you being like, okay, well, let's break up. And then you coming back and him being like, what I can give you is
Crumbs.
is literally like sleeping with you and hanging with you and getting the girlfriend experience, but I also fuck other girls on the side. This guy, we need him to be hired, okay? He needs to be hired by the White House to do negotiations because he's an incredible negotiator. He needs to work for the UN or something. He's amazing. This is insane.
Incredible negotiator.
Like,
Incredible.
whoa, I'm going to hire him for my team to do my brand deals because Jesus Christ, it's magical what he was able to pull off. Damn.
No, the talent. And he's still, so I'm on, at this time that he's telling me this, I'm seeing him like once a week, like consistently, because I've been traveling for work, but I'm finally like back for a good little while. And he's like, I would love to keep doing what we're doing though.
Oh my God.
And I just want to make sure we're on the same page. And like, no, I definitely mentioned this in passing. And I was like, nah.
You're like, no, you didn't. Actually, I think I would remember you being in a fucking relationship, even if it is open.
I was like, we're here now. And honestly, I was like, this sounds messy. I was like, what are your boundaries? Because if you're seeing me once a week, that's not an open relationship. This is like polyamory.
Right.
I was like, my understanding of an open relationship, I have friends in open relationships. A, they don't shut up about it. They're very proud. So I feel like I would have heard about this before. And secondly, this is like if you click with someone at a bar and you want to enjoy a night with them.
Totally.
You do that, and then you return to your person. And he was like, oh, well, I guess that, you know, it's a little bit of a different, like a less traditional open relationship than that.
No, his situation is he gets to fuck around on the side. Because you're right. People in open relationships never shut up about it. They're like, oh, we're so advanced. We're in open relationships, blah, 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 blah. Like this guy just has you can get out of jail free card. You get to fuck around. I don't know why this girl lets him do that, but whatever. So how did you leave it?
I mean, what's funny is I've gathered my information. You don't seem to have clear boundaries set in this relationship, which means like wires are eventually going to get crossed and it's going to be bad for you. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this sounds messy. And I've worked real hard for my peace. This does not sound peaceful.
Thank God.
I was like, we had a great run. Let's like leave it here because I don't want to resent you and I don't want any resentment. Like, I like you right now as a person. Let me just like leave this here. And he was like, okay, no, I get it. And then I kind of let him talk for a bit. This is a 45-minute conversation. And he was like, well, this kind of sucks.
Wow.
Like, I really like spending time with you and we have amazing sex and I like talking to you. And this kind of sucks. And I was like, yeah, but you have a girlfriend. And he was like, well, that's extreme language.
Oh my God, this guy is he's so finicky with his language and his terminology. Like, okay, honestly, I really tip my hat to you for being so classy about the whole situation. You handled it with grace. I would have freaked out. This guy is messy and you are so right. The wires are going to get crossed soon. That girl has no idea of like the level of other like extracurricular activities that he's doing. There's no way because he was like almost in like a little halvesy relationship with you as well. And so you're right. It was like more like polyamory than an open relationship. You did the right thing. Yeah. That is a crazy follow-up. Thank you for telling us. And I'm manifesting someone easy, fun, simple, amazing for you next because that guy ain't it.
Thank you so much. And I also like, if you just have one last quick second, I wanted to know what your opinion is on like, is this polyamory, like open relationship thing in the dating world just more rampant than ever? Because that's what I'm hearing from friends. Is
100%.
People are just low key in open, quote unquote, open relationships left and right.
Yes,
Especially
I
straight
know.
men.
And I feel like there is a right way to do an open relationship. Okay, sorry. I want to take that back. Everyone has different boundaries and levels of comfort. There's no right and wrong. I think that what we're seeing now is like a little abuse of that term by specifically straight men who want to fuck around on the side. I'm not saying that there isn't great circumstances for open relationships. I think, maybe if you've been married for 20 years and you want to explore, do stuff like that, like whatever. But the way that it's being used casually now is like by some hot guy who lives in Brooklyn and he's like, I want to have like 3 girlfriends at once. It can work, but I think you just have to be honest, and I think you have to be clear about boundaries, and a lot of people aren't, and that's where you run into problems. So I definitely think it's out there in the dating world right now, just to make everything even more confusing. So know your boundaries, know your language, know your limits, and I guess this is just another thing we have to deal with. Great.
Yeah, and again, like, I mean, my lesson learned, which hopefully for everyone in this follow-up, and the last lovely girl who just called, it's like, ask questions sooner, trust your gut, walk away, and you have no reason why you feel a little bit shitty. Like, maybe there's something that your intuition is telling you that's just not surface level yet.
Trust your gut.
Yeah, and then handle it with grace, and luckily, like, if it's not your person, it's not your responsibility anyway.
Exactly. Damn, that is so crazy. Thank you for calling back with an update. I'm sorry it was a bad update, but I'm proud of you. And again, I'm manifesting someone really good for you next. Someone easy.
Love you so much.
Love you. Thanks for calling. Bye, babe. Damn, that is crazy, you guys. So now on top of everything, you have to double check and be like, and just checking, by the way, are you also in a relationship? Very, very curious. I've seen guys on dating apps where they're like, they have pictures with their girlfriend and they're like, oh, if you want to match like with both of us, whatever, like that's open. That to me makes sense. But like, this is crazy. Okay, we have so many exciting calls on the board. I can't wait, but we're going to take a super quick break. I will be right back after this. If you want to join the conversation, it's 844-305-2639. I'll be right back.